Hey buddy, would you agree with me if I tell you the Wild West was a land of unfinished business? Stop, before you think of responding. Allow me to tell you this Wild West story of betrayal first. So at the end you can decide to agree or disagree with me. You see? The Wild West was a place where grudges simmered for years, waiting for the right moment to explode. On a late summer evening, as the sun bled red across the horizon, 3 outlaws rode back into their hometown. They weren't looking for peace. They weren't looking for forgiveness. They had come for revenge at sundown. But what they didn't know was that the town they once called home was ready to betray them. The riders appeared first as shadows against the dying light. Dust rose behind their horses, the smell of sweat and leather heavy in the evening air. At their head rode Jedediah Jed Coulter, once a ranch hand, now a wanted man with a bounty on his head. His younger brother Ethan Coulter rode beside him, quiet, watchful, and just as dangerous. Behind them came Luke McGraw, a childhood friend turned gunslinger. They weren't strangers here. They had grown up in the small town of Red Bluff, a settlement on the edge of the Texas frontier. Years ago they had worked the fields, drank in the saloon, and even courted local sweethearts. But everything changed the night a cattle baron named Clint Harlan cheated them out of their family land. The Coulters fought back, and in the chaos, a man was killed. The sheriff branded them outlaws, and the town turned its back. Now, years later, they were riding back in, not for reconciliation, but to settle old scores. Yet, as the townsfolk peeked from shuttered windows, whispers spread. They've come back. God help us all. What the outlaws didn't realize was that Red Bluff had been waiting for this moment too. In the saloon, Sheriff Amos Greer nursed a glass of whiskey. He was older now, heavy with years, but his hand still rested near his revolver. The barkeep leaned close. "They're back, Sheriff. What are you gonna do?" Greer's eyes narrowed. "I already made a deal with Harlan years ago. If the Coulters ever set foot in Red Bluff again, they wouldn't ride out alive." Unknown to Jed and Ethan, their return had stirred not just fear, but a plan of betrayal. Greer had gathered a posse in secret, men who owed allegiance to Clint Harlan, the cattle baron who started it all. The trap was set, but at sundown the Coulters still rode down Main Street, heads high, boots hitting the dirt as they dismounted, and every door in Red Bluff shut tight. The 3 men walked into the saloon. Conversations died. The piano man froze mid-note. Jed's voice cut the silence. "Evening, Sheriff. Still keeping the peace, or just keeping Harlan's pockets full?" The sheriff stood, slow, deliberate. "You boys shouldn't have come back here." Ethan's hand hovered near his gun. "We didn't come back for your blessing." Tension thickened like smoke. Outside, shadows shifted. Riflemen posted on rooftops, waiting for the signal. The town had chosen its side. But then an unexpected twist. Martha Harlan, the cattle baron's daughter, stepped forward. Once Ethan's sweetheart, she looked torn, eyes flickering between the lawmen and the outlaws. She whispered, "It's a trap. They're waiting to kill you all." The room froze. The betrayal was deeper than anyone realized, not just between outlaw and town, but between family, lovers, and friends. As the church bell tolled the hour, the sheriff finally gave the signal. Gunfire cracked like thunder. Windows shattered. Dust filled the air. The outlaws dove for cover as bullets ripped through the saloon. Jed roared, "We settle this in the open." The 3 outlaws burst into the street, revolvers blazing, as the townsfolk scattered. In the center of town under the burning sunset, it became a standoff. Outlaws against Sheriff Greer, Clint Harlan's hired guns, and half the town who had once called them neighbors. Every shot carried history. Every bullet carried betrayal. By the time the smoke cleared, bodies lay in the dust. Ethan staggered, blood staining his shirt. Jed's hat was gone, his face cut with fury. Luke reloaded, teeth clenched. But the sheriff still stood, and Clint Harlan himself stepped out from the shadows. "This ends tonight," Harlan snarled. The duel narrowed. Jed versus Harlan. Brother against brother-in-law, outlaw against cattle king. At sundown's last light, 2 shots rang out. Silence followed. When the dust settled, Clint Harlan lay dead, but Jedediah Coulter, mortally wounded, collapsed beside him. With his dying breath, he told Ethan, "Don't let them write us as villains. Remember, we came back for justice." The sheriff called off the guns. Too much blood had been spilled. The Coulters' revenge was complete, but at a heavy cost. Ethan and Luke rode out of Red Bluff that night, wounded, but alive. Behind them, the townsfolk whispered of the day the outlaws returned at sundown, and how justice and revenge blurred into one. Years later, old-timers told the story by campfires. Some called the Coulters criminals. Others called them heroes. But one truth remained. In the Wild West, legends never die. So, pal, do you agree with me that the Wild West was a land of unfinished business, or you disagree? Let me know in the comments section so we continue the conversation. Thanks for watching.